Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. For this video, we're going to be going over our progress with our emergency savings fund and how much interest we've earned since we put this in a high yield savings account. Just a quick recap for y'all. At the end of June back in 2023, hubby had gotten the news that he was getting laid off from his job. At the time, he was the sole income earner for us, so that news was really dreadful for us because we had no emergency savings put together and we had no idea what we were going to do next if he didn't line something up right away. So once July hit, we decided to throw everything that we had that we could spare with our finances into an emergency savings account. We decided to open a high yield savings account with Capital One because it had one of the highest interest rates at 4.3%. We decided to deposit close to $5,000 into that account for our first deposit. The goal was to deposit $5,000 each month for as long as we could, so that we could quickly fund this emergency savings account. At the time, our goal was to at least save 6 months worth of essential living expenses. And based on our calculations, that came to about $34,000 to live off of for the next 6 months, assuming that we didn't have any income coming in. If you haven't seen that video, how we calculated our 6-month emergency savings goal, make sure to check out that video right here. Some months were better than others based on what we could deposit. We really tried to deposit what we could into our high yield savings account as soon as we got paid. And we did that knowing that the compound interest was really going to play a factor in how much we earned. And that interest was deposited into our account at the last day of the month. So what do those numbers look like? I'm going to be going over those numbers and showing you right here. So for the month of July, we were able to earn $8.79 in interest. It's not as much for this month because we were only able to make a deposit in the middle of the month, so we didn't get the full month's worth of interest. For August, we didn't deposit anything, but we were able to earn an interest amount of $18.21 because we had a full month of compound interest. So that really was a nice little bit of money that got added to our account. Once September hit was when we were able to make a significant contribution to our emergency savings. Hubby was able to get a nice bonus even though he was going to get laid off soon, which was really generous of his company. So we contributed a good chunk of that bonus to our high yield savings account, which was a little over $11,000. And on top of that, we were still able to make another contribution in September, which was $6,500. Those two large transactions were able to earn us $58.48 in interest at the end of September. With all those contributions, in a matter of 3 months, we were able to start with our high yield savings account at $4,900 and end the end of the month of September with $22,500. That's a significant jump in our emergency savings, and we were really happy with the progress that we were making. But once October hit, that's when things really changed and we weren't able to make as huge contributions as we were in the prior months. October was the month that hubby got the news that he was going to get a new job, which was really great, but it was also a huge pay cut from what he was earning before. So we weren't able to make as large contributions, and it was a bit of a tricky month because we were a little tight on money, and even though he worked 2 weeks, he was only going to get paid for 1 week based on how payroll works at his company. So for October, you'll see that we contributed $4,700 for that month, but we also had to make a deduction of $1,000. Money was really tight. Without that second week of income getting paid, we really needed the funds to pay our remaining bills that we needed to take care of for the month. So we wrapped up October with a little over $26,000 in our emergency savings, and that gave us a good amount of interest earned at the end of that month, which came out to $94.03. Once November hit was when hubby started to get his regular payroll paid out to him on an expected bi-weekly basis. And unfortunately, money's tight and we don't have a lot left over to spare with the amount that he's bringing in and the small contribution that I make with my job. So we really had to limit our contributions. We were only able to manage and budget to contribute $200 each month going forward for our emergency savings fund. We really didn't want to give up on it, and we wanted to at least throw a little bit at it every month so that we can still capitalize on that interest earned, and hopefully slowly it may be get to our $34,000 goal. It's going to take a lot longer than anticipated, but you know, a little bit of progress is better than nothing. So you'll see that in November, we only contributed $200 into our high yield savings account, and that earned us an interest of $94.93 with what we had already into the account. So we wrapped up November with a little over $26,500. For December, things were slightly in our favor. The interest rate for the year going forward has slightly gone up, and we had a new interest rate of 4.35%. That's 0.05% higher than what we were getting before in the previous months at 4.30. So for December, we did our regular contribution of $200 for the month, but unfortunately we had some bills to pay. We still had to pay off our credit cards from balances that we had from the holidays, so we had to deduct $1,000 from our emergency savings account to pay for those bills to avoid interest. Not as much in the account as we had hoped, and we ended up getting $97.71 in interest earned for the month of December, and we wrapped up that month with a total of close to $26,000. And now we're in the current month of January. We did our usual $200 contribution to the emergency savings, but we had an emergency with our home. We had our water heater break on us, and we had to get that replaced right away with how cold and freezing the temperatures have been in Georgia. So we really didn't want to put this on our credit card and have any debt or interest that we would need to pay on this. So we went ahead and dipped into our emergency savings because it really was an emergency, and we felt like this was a good use of the money so that we could avoid any future credit card debt going forward. So that's where you'll see a withdrawal of $750 to contribute towards the payment of the water heater replacement. So what we forecast for the end of this month is that we'll have an interest amount earned of $92.57, and we'll most likely have a balance in our emergency savings account of a little over $25,500. Not quite $34,000 yet, but we're slowly getting there. To sum it all up, our total interest earned for our emergency savings account since we've opened it comes out to a grand total of $464.72. So for about 6 months of funding our emergency savings in a high yield savings account, that almost $500 amount in interest is pretty significant to us. Maybe not to you, but we feel like, hey, that's extra money that we get to put towards our emergency savings and help us reach our goal a little bit faster. So that sums up our progress for our emergency savings fund. We hope that you guys found this video helpful, and if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and hit that notification bell so you could stay tuned for future videos that I have coming out. I hope to catch you guys in the next video.